This is a Headgum podcast.
Maybe over here.
Okay.
Maybe this is the one. I'll take this guy. I'll also put my phone out. This guy. I can live disconnected for water.
Yeah, I can get you water.
Okay. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. Well, since you took off with who were the people that drove you from the last gig? Who was that? Was it Airbnb people or people you?
It was. Do you know a manager? Do you know Carly Hugendijk?
Oh yeah.
It was her parents.
Oh right, she told me that. Had you met them before?
Never.
Wow, that's great.
Never. I just kind of I booked all of the stuff too late, obviously, and was
I got in touch with you pretty short notice.
No, but I also could. I had a few months, you know.
Oh, was it that? Okay,
I think so.
Then that is on you.
It was definitely on me, and then Rick definitely saved me a lot of times with some of those late night bookings, and he charmed his way into those hotels and got me like really favorable rates that I just.
He's great, man. The tour managers had basically three. There were a couple like one off fill in, but mostly it was this. You didn't meet two of them, Doug and Graham, and then Rick, who was one of the fill-ins in the Midwest, and he was great. And they all have great stories.
Oh, dude, he loves to tell a story.
Yeah. Well, you want him to tell a story. They're great. Like the fucking Axl Rose. Did he tell you any of the Axl Rose stories?
Was that the stuff about the guy who stole his whole fortune? Who was he telling us that they like stole his whole fortune and he met this guy like 30 years later and he was gonna he said, if I ever saw this guy again, I'd kick his ass. And then like he went through this whole, maybe we were driving.
Wait, I don't remember this.
It was maybe the Santa Fe story or when we were going to Santa Fe or Albuquerque from Santa Fe.
Yeah. Oh, after the gig?
Yeah. Wasn't it like somebody, they like stole all the money from this guy and they'd like get their catalog. Maybe it was Axl Rose.
I don't remember. I know the Axl Rose stories he told all had to do with, and there are multiple ones, but they all had to do with like outlandish rock and roll millionaire behavior.
Oh, man.
It was all stuff like charter a helicopter
to get the jacket,
to get my jacket from Brazil. I'm not going on stage or whatever it is.
Yeah, it was that huge like European festival. And they're like, there's no way we can physically do this. There's not a world where that would happen. Yeah, I loved him. He was awesome. He sends me like, I think he also maybe every 3 months will send me like whatever holiday it is. Be like, hey, happy holidays, Zach. I hope you're going. I hope it's going well.
Yeah,
I'm like,
good.
Man, I appreciate you.
Yeah, he's a good guy. They were all great. They were all interesting, very different from each other, but all good tour managers in their specific ways. And I'm always giving them not shit, but always reminding them that, come on, I'm a stand-up. There's no sound check. You don't have to do shit.
There's
man.
no stories.
There's no. Yeah, I don't have outlandish, behavior or demands or anything like that. It's like, okay, we got a.
Can I get a bottle of wine? Is there somewhere in the bar we can have a drink?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So, those guys are like on vacation. Paid vacation.
Yeah, it's easy. It's a nice one.
I don't want to say it's easy because there's, I'm sure, tons of stuff that they deal with that I never even find out that we don't know about. But it's got to be way easier than the logistics of
even
3,
just a
4,
sound
5
check.
people in a band and getting them in the hotels and making sure everybody's happy and getting to the venue and a sound check and dealing with technical things that a stand-up doesn't have to deal with.
Yeah.
You know? So
there's
a light show. There's no light show.
No.
And also I tell every tour manager, if there's anything wrong, with the lights, if they're not satisfactory or something's fucked up, I'll deal with it on stage. It becomes part of the set. I'll just don't worry about it.
It's like, hey, this you actually don't need to do this. I'll just make this part of my job now.
It doesn't matter,
It made me think of, do you remember the other group that was in, I think it was also New Mexico, the Suicide Boys? That the like
Oh wait, yeah.
those like two cool. They're like hip. Like, I mean, to be honest, I don't know anything about them. I know them as like a band that's on a bunch of festival lineups, and it's like
Right. I didn't know anything about them. Did we meet them, or
did
did
you in
we?
the elevator? He's like, dude.
Oh,
yeah,
right,
like,
right.
I don't know
Then we looked him up.
Yeah, I think he was like
Yeah.
he clocked you, I think, from Alvin and the Chipmunks as well, out of all things. Like fully tatted up. He said he had like 2 girls with him. He's like, yo,
That's
man,
right.
love your stuff.
That's right. And then we looked him up. Suicide Boys. And I don't remember what is their hook is that they threaten to commit suicide every single night.
Every single night.
Every show.
If the crowd's not loving
If
it,
the crowd's not loving it,
they're one
they're
step
gonna-
away. Their Rick has to rig up all of their different ways they can kill themselves.
Yeah, they've got like 20. I went on their site. Guillotine? Jesus. That seems so involved.
Get in there really come on, y'all, I need you with me.
I can't hear you. You don't sound pumped enough. Don't do it. Don't kill yourself. We love you.
I think
All right.
you should start doing something like that. If they aren't laughing, you just start threatening ways.
Yeah, bring out a gun.
Guys.
Yeah.
Well, depending on where you are, people might just think that's, you're just kind of like showing some love to the culture of the state that you're in.
That is true. A salute.
Yeah.
A salute with a gun.
Good to see you guys.
But actually use it as a, like the army salute.
I've started as Tucker when I'm in America. I carry a fake pistol, like a prop gun, and for a while it was always the black one.
That's fucking dangerous.
That's what I realized. Now it's an orange cowboy one that clicks.
Right.
But I had one that was black with an orange tip, and I would just, if people wouldn't laugh, I would kind of show it for 1 second as like a save. But I got the vibe after the second time I did it that people weren't fully sure, which upset me because I was like, come on, guys, you think I'm going to really bring a gun in here? But then
why not? They don't know you.
Yeah.
Then this is America, and people bring guns. Like, they get really, 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 really upset. It's the thing they get the angriest about. Some individuals, they don't get angry about, whatever, grand injustice or whatever, but they get angry if they can't bring their gun into an Arby's that's at a hospital.
No, of course not.
Yeah. The Arby's in the hospital is a gun-free zone, and they can't. That's not in my America.
They can't handle it.
No.
It was always fascinating watching my European comedy partners come over here and seeing, like, when I went home to Chicago, it's where I grew up, and we'd go to, we went to a Bulls game in the United Center, and there was no guns, and they have the stickers in there.
Yeah.
They just couldn't believe that you had to tell people that.
Yeah.
And that if that wasn't there, people would just be walking, and people probably still are coming in with guns.
Oh, it's whenever I go to Europe, it's literally the number one thing of all the things that are brought up is just how incredulous people are. Like, and they know that it's a minority of people.
Yeah.
They kind of get that sense, but that it's they have outsized power and that I don't go into the full details because they start falling asleep. But I was like, well, that's the electoral college for you, and that's what gerrymandering gets you. And when 19% of the population gets 52% of the say, well, there you go.
There it is.
The gun thing is the gun, and I'd say healthcare runs a close second, but it's not that close. It's mostly about guns.
Yeah, I'd say guns first. Healthcare's up there, possibly as well. Just the size of cups and portions. They're seeing a double. They're like, you guys drink a triple X soda.
I get that less than, but that's definitely something people bring up. But and I guess there's the unspoken, and this dovetails with healthcare, the unspoken, problem with obesity and, the food deserts. I don't even know if they have that concept really.
No, I don't think so.
Where the only thing to eat is high fructose corn syrup, processed foods, and why are the kids so fat? Get off your ass, and that's why I want to roll back child labor laws. Get them working at 12, right? Work off some of that dough.
Yeah, get them in there. But then when they get there,
kids sitting there eating, flaming Cheetos and whatnot.
But
on my dime, my comedy
partner Vigo, when he went to I think he was like 8 when he went to America for the first time. Him and his dad went to Orlando, and he said that.
Oh, that's okay.
Dude,
if you're gonna dive right in,
look, he went to Orlando because he loved Shaquille O'Neal and he wanted to go to Disneyland. So Disney World. Sure. So he went to Disney World. He saw a basketball game, and his dad's called. So Viggo's name is Viggo Venn, which translates to friendless friend in Norwegian, and his dad's Bjorn Venn, which is bear friend. His dad also was an air guitar.
Wait, bear like the animal or bear like naked?
Good question. Bear like the animal, but I imagine that he was naked as well. But then
so your naked friend,
my naked friend's dad, he also was a finger air guitar champion in his town. They have like, competitions
shredding
like this
stuff.
Just nothing, just like miming it.
Yeah.
But shredding hard. And, picking his songs and just going to it. But he won. I think he's won a few times.
And what do you get for winning that?
I think you get like an invisible medal or invisible trophy. I have no idea.
How big is it?
It's kind of up to you. It's one of those like choose your own adventures. It could be this big, could be this big.
That's a big medal.
Yeah. And imagine being a tour manager for that and trying to fly with all those around everywhere.
Trying to have to check the invisible medal and explaining to people.
Frequencies I'm not really loving right here.
I don't know if this is going to come through in the oversized the luggage area, where you get your golf clubs and your snowboards and whatever. But so the guy I'm traveling with, I'm working for, has a fairly large invisible medal that I want to make sure is,
yeah, and it's in a protected case. Yeah, I want.
It's not going to fit in the overhead.
No, not at all.
Nor under the seat.
We're gonna have to actually tape it to the top of the plane if that's cool with you guys. But he was so excited to be in America and so happy. Like he just loved seeing, especially in Orlando, how big people were. That Viggo told me that he was making.
You can say fat.
Yeah, he said how fat everybody was.
Yeah, fat. You don't have to.
And he was like, oh, look at that really fat guy over there. And he'd tell Viggo to go stand next to people and pretend to take his photos so he could record everyone. And when they went home, and his like parents were divorced, and his mom like was really excited to see all of this. And he said when they showed all the footage, it was like barely any footage of Viggo enjoying America, and mostly Bjorn just laughing, filming fat people in Florida.
Oh man, it is something. There are certain airports I've been to where it's like a fat museum. It's just like I'll go to certain airports, mostly I'd say the Midwest and the South, and you're concerned, like so many emotions.
Yeah,
man. God, I remember, I shot a movie in Shreveport, Louisiana, which is one of the most depressing places I've ever been. It's brutal. Have you been there?
No, what part of the...
Shreveport, I believe, is northwest, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's up there. And everybody had the same... They shot a bunch of stuff there over a span of several years, and I know so many people that have shot there and have the same experience. It's like boarded up, like recession, constant, and their biggest kind of money maker is gambling. Like they have the casino boat, the river boats that are docked, and they have some rule, and they've gotten around the loophole of like as long as it's on the water, but they're just docked. So it's just a casino on the water, and you just walk from the sidewalk, 10 feet to a little boardwalk, and then get on the boat, and you can and it's it's like akin to just a city that is. With high unemployment and just a bunch of people hanging out doing scratch off tickets. Like imagine just take the kind of, because it's joyless. You go in there, it's bleak and depressing, and people are just gambling as if it's their job. They're kind of reluctant.
But
they're not having fun.
No, not very good at it either, I assume.
I mean, can you be good at gambling?
You could think you could be good at it.
Well, perhaps that's the problem. But, you can have certain skill with, certain card games and stuff.
Yeah.
But, blackjack.
Scratch is not so much.
Blackjack, there's a couple obvious things you don't want to do. And but outside of that, it's just you play the odds, and you still might not. The house...
always
the house wins.
There's a reason why the if the establishments were losing, then they wouldn't set these things up.
Trump's the only one who actually had a money losing. I mean, that's astounding when you think of it.
Yeah, it's kind of
how do you fuck up a casino?
Something that's rigged against everybody else.
But and he's obviously used to, kind of indigent people giving him their last money. So it's like, boy, you fucked that up.
This was made for you.
Yeah. But yeah, Shreveport. So I was there, and there were a handful of decent in that kind of southern style diners and places to get food, but it was, everything's just chicken fried steak and everything's covered with gravy, and it was delicious. But I mean, it's just
kills you.
Really, yeah. Well, literally will kill you. And I was there with Zach Galifianakis, who was shooting something else. And we went to this kind of well-known diner, Greasy Spoon. It was great. And food, I went there probably 4 or 5 times. I was there for 4 months, but
yeah, that'll do it.
And there was a couple that was next to us. We were just at a little two-top, and next to us was a couple. I'm gonna guess. It's tough to say in Shreveport. You'd guess 80, but they're actually 54. But
no.
The guy goes to get up, and he, under his breath, but I can hear him. He's right next to me. He puts his hands on either side of his chair. This is just a stand. This is just to stand up after eating. And he's and he goes to himself, but I can hear it. He goes, "This is gonna hurt." And he makes this, and it wasn't because he's got like bone on bone orthoscopic surgeries. It's like
he had a pound and a half of gravy just then.
Yeah, and he had probably 7 gallons of gravy in the last week. So it wasn't even about the meal. It was not about. I'm telling you, because he's like, "This is gonna hurt standing, man. Who invented that shit?" I can't. No, he didn't say that.
Okay, I was going to say that. That was.
I didn't.
Yeah.
No, that's me riffing. Bugging it. It's not a. This is America. I don't have to stand if I don't want to goddamn stand.
It's kind of the reverse. He was the original Kaepernick before Colin. The liberals came in and took his stance.
So let me tell everybody. I'm talking with Zach Zucker, and not Jack Tucker, your alter ego, your stage. And Zach has a background in clown school.
Mm-hmm.
You were a clown, and you have a very popular act. You've done Edinburgh how many times?
If I go this year, this will be my 8th year.
8th year,
yeah,
Jesus!
But I'm feeling it,
Good Lord,
like that man in Louisiana. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this.
Yeah, if for those who don't know, the Fringe Festival, it's a whole month, right?
It is.
It's a month, and you work your ass off.
And it's like, the work starts as well. The prep for it starts while you're there for the next year. And like, I've in 2 days a deadline to start registering shows, and I'm just like, do I want to do this anymore?
It is a young man's game, that festival.
And it ages you. I remember when I was in one venue, which is basically a converted, like sewer, an underground sewer, basically. I watched the rust on an electrical box get darker and darker every year. And I'm like, I'm just breathing that in for 12 hours, 13 hours a day for 30 days in a row.
That's the Scottish way.
Yeah.
That's part of that's the Scottish promise.
One of them said though, hey, but at least any of the lung cells or brain cells you kill, those are the weak ones. They weren't going to last anyways. Was something that somebody legitimately told me there.
Good, smart logic.
Yeah, it works.
Get rid of those guys. Separate the wheat from the chaff, right?
What's a breath with bad lung cells?
Yeah. Yeah. You give a chance for the new, young, upcoming lung cells to
come in there
and do their business.
They're sharp. They're doing great on social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I mean 8 times. Holy moly, that's tough. And it's
a slog.
It's tough. I mean, it's and there's no break. There's no time off. I mean, you're doing shows. You have to promote your own shows. You have to paper get out there. And it's so much fun if you're a a punter, you're going to see the shows. It's just great. But I imagine I haven't done it. I've been there and seen shows. I haven't been there for a full month, but it's really fun. It's a fun thing to run around and it's very late hours, as you might imagine, and lots of drinking but there's no time off. It's a month of, and that adds up, man.
It does. We were saying last year as we were kind of like looking around again, being like, all right, I've been doing this. I'm 30. I've been doing this since I was 22 years old. Like, I feel like, besides the pandemic year, I've done every year in a row. And, what's the benefit of hemorrhaging all this money and all of your faith into the Scottish people, but also it's like a lot of it's a London audience. It's mostly people from London coming up to watch shows.
Yeah. I mean, it's very well known and well respected, and it's a big party. It's unlike any other kind of arts festival that I've ever seen or participated in or have gone to. It's and there's, I think, a respect that people have for that process. It's not easy. You can tell it's not easy.
No. We were saying last year, I think it's like, it's really just it's like the least most complicated way to hang out with all of your friends from all over the world in a way where it's like, oh, I get to see all these people that I love and running into everybody, even, the 8 to 12 random people you'll see every day on your walks to the venues or walks to get food.
Edinburgh isn't a big city at all.
No, it's a beautiful city. It's
gorgeous.
It's tough to eat there. You don't get many non-brown fried foods. So that's also another tough.
I've never experienced as many. It's like 18 Iowa State fairs put together with the shit that they fry. Like all the stuff that you see at a state fair, I'm imagining originated in Scotland.
Yeah.
Where it's like they fry candy bars, fry pizza.
Yeah, fried pizza. It's the Mars bars.
Did you go to the pizza place with the DJ? It's like it's on a corner. Oh, it's the best.
Is it Pizza Express?
No, it wasn't a chain. It was like...
they also sometimes they'll just be blasting music in there.
With the actual DJ?
Yeah.
This was like more of chippy. It was just like kind of nothing. It was not big. It probably had, I don't know, 6 to 8 tables maybe. And then, all the bright fluorescent lights. And they're making fish and chips and, the stuff that they get in deep fried hot dogs and deep fried hot dog sausages. But they had deep fried pizza. And they also, in a corner... And maybe it was just because of the festival. I don't know. They had a fucking DJ.
Was it, what time of night did you go, or what time of day?
Oh, midnight.
Yeah, so that'll do it. Yeah, it's those late night, those guys like this.
But there's no party. There's no party to be had. There's no.
But they're crazy. They're crazy people, and they love to have a good time. Is it my type of party? Not always.
Yeah.
When I'm there outside of the festival, you remember like, oh yeah, I am just in like a wet leaking cave with like really disgusting floors. I love the Scottish people so much, and I also struggle so hard to understand them. So I'm like in a bar, like really trying to read lips, but I can't read lips. Can't quite get the accent. So it's a lot of like, yeah.
Oh, I especially when they're drunk. I did a show in Glasgow. I mean, I've done a bunch, but the one on the last tour, and I was doing those after show meet and greet things, and there was a woman with the thickest Glaswegian accent, and she was drunk, and I don't know a fucking word you're saying.
Not at all. I don't know. A drunk Glaswegian is the hardest thing, and also having been there with you on this most recent tour for those meet and greets, if you're going in there alone and facing 40 to 50 to 60 Glaswegians.
Oh no, I had Sean Patton.
Okay,
and Sean is
Sean's a good buffer.
the best. I mean, he was great, and he really dug it. He had fun, and he was like a really good buffer, and he very quickly. I've never done that before, and I probably won't again. But it's just exhausting. I mean, you've done a fucking hour and a half, and then you got another hour of
just chatting, being kind, and knowing that like, hey, I'm tired, and even with the leg that we did,
drinking, and it's super nice people. I mean, there was literally always, every show there was at least one, if not 2 to 3, kind of maybe on the spectrum, like kind of odd people or inappropriate or just there's always somebody with an attitude of like, hey, I mean, these guys think they're fans. They're not really fans. I'm the real fan, that kind of thing. And
I loved watching that. I really loved to watch that. So I'm not like the rest of these fucking idiots,
They're like, I like these guys. Yeah. They're nice.
They're nicer than you are.
Yeah.
They're not doing this to me about you.
I had a guy in, I'd have to ask Sean. I think it was Asheville. Yeah, I think it was Asheville, North Carolina at the meet and greet and I thought he was joking at first, right? He said he was starting to do stand-up, and then he said he had a joke about, Jesus. It was I had this bit where I talked about, we don't know anything about Jesus between the day after he was born until he was like 30. And I do, 30 seconds on Jesus as a 14-year-old, right? Nothing major. It's a little, sidebar in the bigger bit. And he's like, my bit is better than that and than yours, and I'll give you. And he's saying it to me without like smiling or anything, like this kind of. And he's sort of cornered me at this table, and there's 50 people to meet who want to hang out or want to take a picture, whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, and it took me a good 30 seconds to go, oh wait, you're not doing a bit. No. This is for real. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, I'll give it to you. Oh, what did he want for an exchange? I'll give it to you if he didn't want money, but he wanted this. He wanted this service or to do for real. And then I was like, well, why don't you tell me the joke and I'll decide whether I
want to give you this service for this,
And he told me, and it was like a pun. It was like a long setup for a pun. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to stick with mine. Thank you so much. And all right, I'm telling you, it's better. It'll get a big laugh. It'll like, what the fuck, dude? How much did you pay?
It's kind of awesome though to come up to pay to see your show, pay the extra meet and greet fee, and then big dog the guy that you. I guess, look up to, enjoy, are excited to see him. No. You're wrong here.
So I got some notes.
Yeah. I got some notes? And these notes are exclusive notes. They're behind a paywall. I want you to come and do cameos at my house.
This is like
once
a New York Times level of notes.
Yeah. There was one guy that gave you at the first Santa Clarita? Was that or Santa Cruz? Santa Cruz. There was one guy who gave you a hoodie. And it was this kind of color as well. It was like a light blue hoodie. Kind of cool. Oh, yeah. I still wear that all the time. It's one of my favorite.
That was a good one. Well, a really good one. I would have worn it, but he gave me like an XL.
And I was like, perfect. I'm in my hip hop era right now.
Like that.
It's literally the same color as this, and it has the popsicles on it.
Yeah, I totally would have worn it, but yeah, I'm not an X large.
It made it with me to maybe with me out here for my 2 months. Good. It's part of my New York wardrobe.
Great. Do you ever feel like money is just flying out of your account and you have no idea where it's going? It could be all those subscriptions. Think about it. Between streaming services, fitness apps, delivery services, parenting apps, it's endless. If I asked you how many subscriptions you have, would you be able to list all of them and how much you're paying? Probably not. Rocket Money can help you find out what subscriptions you're actually spending money on. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has helped save its members an average of $720 a year with over 500 million in canceled subscriptions. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/senses. That's rocketmoney.com/senses. rocketmoney.com/senses. What do you, I want to let people know that I want to urge them to see your show, but it's not Zach Zucker, it's Jack Tucker.
It is.
And Jack Tucker is that's another thing, like imagining you doing that thing with that energy for an hour. It's every night.
We're billed as 70 minutes. In Edinburgh, I was doing 90 because I was really basking in it. And so far I've been doing 75, 80. And that's why even my voice is a little, I was on like 2 days, 2 days full vocal rest, just like trying to keep it in there. But I don't, in the words of one reviewer, an unhinged tour de force, which I will take. And it's just, this is the pace. And I think it's kind of, my buddy Tom Walker labeled it as like, it's the perfect encapsulation for all of my worst habits to make me look like a genius.
Well, it's really high energy, not in a annoying way, but your character is sweaty, working, like literally sweaty, kind of shticky, punny comic who is trying to be high energy, and it's like in the same world but wildly different, as like Neil Hamburger's piss take on a type of comic. So you're doing a type of comic, but it's like Neil Hamburger on, speed and meth, like, because you're up there and you are sweating and you've got, it's really fun. The first time I saw you, I think either you were doing a set on my show or I was doing a set on Stamptown or something.
Yeah, I can't. I think maybe first did you do Stamptown at Asylum, and then I went and came and did.
Oh, okay, maybe
I did some shows with you after.
Yeah, it's really fun, but like sound effects and all kinds of crazy shit. And there's a little bit of Todd Glass in there.
As I've started posting more videos online, I've been starting to get. I usually get like cracked out Tim Robinson, some Todd Glass. People are always like, yo, what types of drugs is this guy on? And like, the joke is I have a heart condition. I can't do and never have done any uppers.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can't. So like, I get so excited, and if it starts working, I'll just keep rolling. And then, eventually you just, we kind of call it like a force of nature character that like, you just, no matter what's happening, you can't stop it.
It's really fun. I really enjoyed it. And you also, just by, sheer luck and happenstance, you happen to be in London. I did a one-off like a year and a half ago, whatever it was, at the Empire Theater in Hackney, and big, beautiful old theater, and you killed it. I mean, that's why I was thinking, I'll have Zach open up, but you can't do for 12 minutes. You can't do.
Well, the thing is I wanted to, and if I had one of my technicians with me, I would have brought it, because I thank you for this. You've, besides the 3 days that we did together, the day before that, my comedy partner Vigo, who won Britain's Got Talent this last year, we did the San Antonio Spurs halftime show. So that was actually, that was actually the biggest crowd ever. But besides that, the 4 biggest crowds I've ever played to have been with you at the Empire, and then these 3 shows in the US. And for me, Tucker was built for that. The Zach Zucker experience, I'm much more of like I play with the crowd. Sure. I'm more of, it's that same thing, but it's more flirty and in the room. And I think on like one and a half of the gigs we did, I think I had that. And then I think that last one, the Tucson one, I'm like, they were not feeling me that night.
They were not feeling you.
Yeah.
And wasn't there an issue with a woman who had medical condition?
That was the second night where that was the best that it went. We were in Albuquerque, I think, or Albuquerque or Santa Fe. I forget where we flew and drove, but it was one thing like this. But I was in the crowd. I was feeling good. I was riffing off the mayor, because we saw the mayor at the airport, his face on there, and people were loving it. And I went into the crowd and I think I made a joke like, I have prepared so much material for you guys, but nobody prepared any jokes for me. And I think that kind of sucks. I love to laugh. And so like, I would go to a classic, like one guy was like, what do you call it? And I'd be like, all right, thank you. This type of stuff. And then a woman stood up in the middle, and it was right around Halloween. And she opened with like, so I have terminal cancer, and this is probably going to be the last show that I see. And I went, no. And this was like at the end of what was like, I was feeling invincible. There was like 4 or 5 really good moments. And then
Captain Bring Down over here.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Can you wait a little bit, lady? But I was like, in my heart, I was like, no, don't worry. I got this. I've been in worse situations. No problem. Not me personally, but I can deal with this.
Yeah.
And she was in a costume as well. And she was in the middle, and how the venue was laid out was like there was the top half that couldn't really see the bottom bit, which is also something I was learning in the moment. I was like,
the balcony,
I shouldn't go in the parts where the balcony can't see you, doing physical stuff that they need to see. And she started telling this joke, and as she was telling it, she would kind of like break and just be like, thank you for this opportunity. I'm a little nervous.
And then somebody gave her shit, right?
A guy from the top heckled her and said, hey,
dying woman,
shut the fuck up. I didn't come here to see some fucking person talk about their story. We want some comedy.
Oh, God.
And I could not believe it. And in my mind, I'm like, all right, this is a big opportunity for me. You know, this is my second time opening for you. I don't want to ruin this. But also, this guy is insane.
No, you handled it well, and it's an extremely difficult thing to...
couldn't
I mean, you
believe
just
it.
have to abandon stand-up and any
yeah.
pretense of it and just go, dude.
Because then also the crowd's ready to turn too. But I'm
Yeah.
like, you told me before, you're like, hey, I don't care what you do as long as you get them in a good mood. And I'm like, I flew
Right.
way too close to the sun that night. I was flipping amongst the stars. That happens. And then what they didn't know
Yeah,
is
I don't think you ever anticipated somebody going, I have terminal cancer and I'm going to die soon, and this is probably the last show I'm going to see. Anyway, here's a joke about some frogs and a button.
yeah, and honestly, the joke wasn't terrible. It was the best of the crowd, but there was already so much riding on that punchline that I was
Yeah.
like, as soon as she said it, we were like, you know, clapping.
Okay, let's move on.
and what you didn't know, what they didn't know, and which was the funniest part for me, was backstage, because the elevation was high, we had the oxygen tanks.
Oh, right.
And I was thinking of coming on stage with it at first. And you're like, no, I want to do a little joke with it. So as soon as I left, you came on stage wheeling an oxygen tank in,
Right.
doing and any other time, an epic bit about about this as well. After this woman's just told us about how she's about to die.
Yep. Get ready for this, lady.
Here we go, everybody.
But I didn't know. I wasn't
No, you had
fully
no
aware.
idea.
I was
was
backstage.
It was
and
a
I was just
beautiful moment.
I had come out once once there was like, oh shit, something's going on in the audience, and Zach's in there. What's do I need to go handle this, or what's happening? So I wasn't aware of what had happened, and I saw that it finished up well, and then I was like, all right, now I'll do my hilarious
Wheel this
oxygen
out.
tank bit for the terminally ill lady.
That was I think that was my favorite moment of the entire thing. That, and then there was a moment when we were in
You must have told me about it, or how did I find out about the?
I think I told you in the meet and greet.
Oh my God.
I told you in the meet
You're
and
like,
greet.
oh fuck.
And then the crowd too, like they were all, I felt like that gave, again, all the meet and greet people were super lovely in those 3 nights.
They always were, yeah.
And they were like, they were trying to, they were hopping in on it as if it was also a bit to like riff on this thing that happened, but also no one also obviously had the words to describe what had gone on, or like any way to really alleviate any of it.
Yeah.
They're all like, yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
That really happened.
And then to find out, you're just like, well, it really flavors the whole, like, damn, that guy's fucking, I don't know if that's appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems very insensitive. It was funny, but I was
Thinking
like,
that you're
I didn't-
watching from the side, but she was loving it. I watched her from the crowd. She was cracking up the entire time.
Good. Yeah, I mean, you said as much, but yeah, that's everyone's. God, there's a great story. Who was it? Jimmy Pineapple was one of the Houston outlaw comics back in the 80s. God, who was it? Who there were 2 things that happened. One was a guy was doing a stand up. It was again in Houston at the I think it was called the Laugh Stop. I can't remember. It was the big place in Houston, and legends came out of there. Bill Hicks, Sam Kinison, and a lot of guys. And the guy was like, in the middle, he'd been doing it for like 7-8 minutes in the middle of his thing, and he yells at this lady in the front. He's like, "Lady, would you? The show's up here, okay? Can you fucking pay attention?" And she's like, "I'm blind." And there's that one, and then there was somebody like accidentally broke somebody's arm or didn't believe. I don't have the whole story, so it's pointless to bring it up. Sorry. Let's move on.
You know what? I'll forgive you for this. Okay. I think we're even after the Tucson show. I was actually also
the Tucson show was not good.
No.
That was, and it was one of those things
I
where
felt bad.
I was over at the wings, and I know the feeling very well. Everyone does. Every comic knows the feeling of, I'm going to get out on a laugh. I gotta and the time is stretching. I'm like, oh, dude, and I'm over there hoping you can see me going like, just come, bring it in. It's all right.
Come
bring
back.
it in.
It's over.
Come back.
It's over.
Come back to shore. And let me throw you life.
I felt like I was like in the Ringling Brothers circus, and you're like, hey, good. Good. Yeah, you can come back.
But it was, they just, you never know.
No.
Sometimes they're with it. Sometimes they're not.
And I think my act, it's like, even if I'm dying out there, like I actually have a good one to tell you recently about Tucker, but like there's usually a few people who are like, hey, I get what you were doing or what maybe how this normally goes, and they can see that and they like that. And so to them, it's like the funniest thing in the world to see this guy.
Oh, to watch people bomb is a treat sometimes.
Awesome.
People used to love to watch me bomb, and I bombed
fun.
A lot.
Yeah.
You know? But I just want to clarify for people. So we're talking to Zach Zucker. He does his alter ego is Jack Tucker. So if you see Jack Tucker, that's the show you need to see.
Please, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's fun. Anyway, continue. I just want to
no worries.
Everybody to know that's.
I think I built that character off bombing because obviously with clown school, it's like so much of it is embracing the failure. And I think when people aren't clued into that, and it's up to me, and also I've been lucky that I've been playing a lot of like hometown crowds, whether it's at my own show Stamptown or it's at the Fringe or people know us or any of these cities that I've been before. I think I had set up as my opener, hopefully to kind of like trip them up to get a laugh right away to show that I was aware. I think in every show I was like, all right, has anyone ever seen me before? Hoping that no one would say anything. And then, you get a few people in the crowd going, no, I haven't. It's like, yeah, I know that, I know. So I'd been coming in hot from doing, Tucker, off this high from the NBA halftime show, and then coming in here doing that type of material, but just as myself. And there's no sound effects, there's no costume, there's nothing else. And so people just start to feel bad for you, which is, again, now a hilarious, pathetic thing to talk about.
It's only the one show that was, the other two are fine, but it was that one show.
I'll take 2 out of 3. I'll take 2 out of 3.
It was that one where if you were, Major League Baseball player, you're batting .666, sure. I'm
on the ups.
That's good.
2 out of 3 ground balls, not so much, but 2 out of 3 hits, I'll take that.
Yeah.
But then recently I did Tucker at the Comedy Store because we're trying to film this late night set that, I pray will hopefully happen. But so far we've not gotten the footage for it. But basically I was in this costume now, and as the costume has gone on, I'm in a suit and it's wet and my tie's busted and one of my shoes is duct taped to my feet and I lost my other shoe. So now I have my toes purposely sticking out of these McDonald's Christmas socks I bought in France a few years ago. And so, I look, my shirt.
So is France where you go to get your McDonald's Christmas socks?
It is.
Really? Because some people would go to like TJ Maxx. Okay, so you go to France.
I go all the way to France. Yeah, I like to keep my fashion fashionable. They have the Soldes, their sales twice a year, and I want to get those €2 socks.
All right, yeah.
I looked for more McDonald's socks and I couldn't find the ones that I like, and there are other ones.
Did you go to DSW or?
I thought about it, and it's just not.
Payless?
No. I tried Burger King. Didn't have what I wanted there. Yeah. They didn't have the type of. It just didn't feel
more places that would have socks,
like a Nordstrom.
Well, they'd have fancy
McDonald's socks.
Like DSW or Payless or...
Isn't there a place called like Happy Socks too? I think that's like a sock store.
There's Ecstatic Socks. There's Pleasantly Surprised Socks. I don't know if there's a Happy Socks. There's... oh gosh.
Yeah. I think I know the one you're talking about.
Which one?
Well, I was just waiting for you to say it.
You say it first.
Ooh, Jovial Socks.
No, that's
ridiculous.
It's not it. What a terrible name.
I know it's not my choice.
Jovial Socks.
Yeah,
that's awful.
It's a charity based organization.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fuck it. All right. Yeah. Oxfam is an Oxfam.
It's an Oxfam sister, but their American sister.
Okay.
But basically, I did the Comedy Store a few weeks ago, and I was dressed as Tucker, and also my shirt's tucked into my underwear. I don't know, and I'm wet. I'm soaking wet. And I don't know anyone there, and I don't really consider myself much of a comic. Like I say I'm a performer. It feels cringe, but also
it is a little poncy, a little pretentious.
Exactly. But I'm like, I'm not.
No. Please, if I can interrupt, I'm not a comedian. I am a performer.
More of a trickster.
Thank you. Continue.
Yeah, a trickster, an entertainer, a laugh man. But I I don't know anyone there, and I'd only been there 3 times. And the booker there, Emily, is so lovely, and she's seen Stamptown, and she keeps giving me all these opportunities. And similar to with yours, I was like, you know what? If it's my own show and I bomb, fine. But somebody else is putting their reputation on the line right now, and I want to do well. So at the top of my act, I have a bunch of apples in my pockets, and he's from New York City, so I kind of tap him and I throw him up, and I always smash the apple. So obviously to prep this with the microphone, yes,
as if you're batting.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm painting a picture for the people who can't.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're not doing a Gallagher thing.
No, and then also I'm thinking like my apple hit rate's pretty good, by the way. I think I'm batting 666.
Yeah.
I as I do. In order to get the explosion effect of the apple that I want, a man's got to soften his apples, you know. So I'm usually bashing them, if you will, and I'm bashing them.
I definitely will.
Okay, well then I please take the space. Perfect. And so I'm bashing them, and I usually smash them against a wall or a concrete surface, something that really gets it mushy but not too mushy. Mm-hmm. But where the green room was, it would, if I was doing it in the green room, it would have disrupted the main room show and the belly room show where I was. And so I'm going to be respectful. I noticed that there was an area out the back that said comedians could go and hang. So I'm in cut character, and I walk down there and I start bashing my apples against the wall. I turn around about 30 seconds later, and 5 security guards show up and escort me out of the venue because they thought I was a homeless guy that snuck in there. And there was apparently going off in the group chat was people like, hey, there's like a guy with no shoes, soaking wet, bashing apples against the wall, saying he's doing a 10-minute spot in the belly room. And they wouldn't believe me. And I was like trying to get them to talk. And I was like, look, I have a fake chicken. I've got pockets full of condoms. Why would I be doing that if this wasn't a joke? Realizing that sounds even crazier. And eventually they had to bring the booker back down. They're like, yeah, this guy's like headlining the first set. And then the security guard was like, well, why didn't you tell us that? I'm like, I did, but you guys literally dragged me out of here. You weren't letting me speak. You guys were looking for a fight. And apparently a homeless guy had snuck in 5 days earlier and taken a shower in the venue. So I think it was poor timing for me, but it was a very
good for him.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Take a shower.
If you can make it through there and get in there and take a shower, take your shower.
All you want to do is take a shower? Please, more.
He's not asking for a 5-minute set.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be worse.
I know.
It'd be more offensive.
I would have loved to have seen it though.
Can I make a recommendation?
Yes.
Next time you find yourself in that situation, you're not allowed to, or not allowed, but you know that smashing your apple on the wall would disrupt something on the other side of that wall. Can I recommend the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah, the floor might be a better choice than walking outside the venue. And then
I guess I just thought if I'm on the floor, then I'm really like, here's a man in a wetsuit hitting the floor. But if I'm up, it's kind of like, oh, hey, I can kind of see you guys. It's like doing like those basketball dribble drills against the wall, except it's not a basketball.
Yeah, I don't think that's a valid.
No, not so much. As I was saying it, I felt myself.
Yeah,
I felt
reaching.
I felt the ground I should have been bashing on fall out from underneath me. And then, of course, I went and did the set. And after having all of this happen, after having to come in early as well in tech and be like, can we do this? And we were trying to film this because my team was like, can we
pass?
Oh, I bombed so hard, like 35 seconds in. Yeah. No one's laughed. And I know if I don't.
It's a huge, the Jack Tucker thing is, a huge roll of the dice. There's no in between. No. You're going to love it or you're going to not have any patience for it.
And it sucks when it doesn't go well. Because then I'm like, because I did that happened. So I did 2 sets that night. In between the first and second set, I was like, I just want to go home. And like Emily was like, no, please stay. Like you could do this. And I'm like, oh man, it's like sucks. I thought I was over getting these like you can do it talks.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that I have it. But I'm like, man, we just like sold out a show to 350. I did 8 nights in London, sold out the Soho Theater. Everyone's loving it. Like come here to a room full of people who I don't know, who already are looking at me like, look at this fucking
Well, it's also
wacko.
Tourists. It's all, it's all tourists coming in, going to for a lot of people, the height of culture is going to walk, look at the Hollywood Walk of Fame and the dirty Spider-Man on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
Filthy Superman, dirty
Filthy
Spider-Man.
Superman, yucky Captain America.
Yeah.
The whole gang.
What's that stain? Batman. Yeah, they're all out there.
Tweaking SpongeBob. I
had the same feeling when I was living in LA. But I just, every time I go there, the appeal is so, I mean, there's not even the semblance of an appeal of walking down these like urine covered. It's just a name. It's a dirty name.
There it is. It's Michael Jackson's Star. You're like, all right.
And I would guarantee you that upwards of 70% of the people you've never even heard of.
No.
And the people are taking pictures. And
they love the wax museum.
They buy a little Oscar, right? A little plastic Oscar, and they sit it and they pose with it, and it's. And where did you come from? And this is what you're doing.
I know.
I really like. It's just, hey, B. Arthur's Star. Okay, you got to take a picture. I flew all the
Best
way
dad Oscar
from Wichita, and oh boy, I just don't get the appeal.
It's so funny because then I remember like for me, I have like 5 fake Oscars for Tucker's show that are just increasing in size, and we also have a fake Walk of Fame star that obviously the name's like. It's like scrunched at the end because we couldn't fit all the letters in right. I overshot it at first. Classic, like when you make a poster in elementary school. But yeah, I don't understand the appeal of it. And we usually do shows out there on Hollywood Boulevard at this place called the Bourbon Room. I don't know if you've played there before. It's a cool spot. It's Hollywood and Ivar. But it's like,
I know what you're talking about.
It used to be Eva Longoria's club called Beso, I think is what it used to be.
I know, that little, it's like almost an alley, like a small, tiny side street. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And that is, you just see lunatics walking in and out, and like people just walk in and out all the time, just start shouting at people. And then, there's people pissing on the streets. Like it's intense.
Increasingly growing sections of LA that are just some of the most depressing. I mean, it's really bad.
Yeah, it's
really,
hard.
really, really, really bad. And especially when if it's really hot and there's so much asphalt and the heat just comes back up and in Los Angeles, the heat stings. I mean, it's dirty not in the sense of trash. I mean, it has that too, but it's like dirty in the sense that there's a lot of dirt in the air and dust.
And also the smog too.
It's smog, yeah. Meaning all the leaves are kind of covered in kind of a brownish thing, and you just see the dirt and sense it and feel it. And then, to be chronically homeless, mentally ill, and not have a place to take a shower or whatever, and these communities grow. They have their tents, and I was just there. I was there a couple days ago, and just walking. Where was I walking on? I walked from. I was staying on Hollywood and Vine, and I was walking to the Headgum Studios to do, which is Silver Lake, where Silver Lake starts getting closer to Echo Park, and just walking down Hollywood into Sunset Boulevard, and it's just, I mean, there's human shit everywhere, and
and I'm sorry about that. I couldn't hold it.
Yeah, I mean, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah.
But thanks for flying in to do that and then leaving.
Hey, look, you want me to open for you, and I did.
Yeah, I mean, contractually, once the show's over, you're done. You don't.
I've still been going.
Yeah,
I've been saying,
I know.
And Zach Zucker, 6 feet, David Cross's opener.
I wanted to talk to you about that.
Can I leave it on the website?
Yeah, I prefer you not.
It's on the top of my cast.com resume.
That's one of my favorite things when you see comics, like up and coming comics, and it's such a red flag when you see their CV on the back of the they have their headshot and then their resume and stuff, and then it's has appeared with.
Oof.
Can mean anything. It doesn't mean not opened for. Has appeared with.
Mine says is best friends with.
Has appeared. Okay. Been in the same vicinity as.
Have been in the Comedy Store with legends such as George Carlin.
stood underneath a photo of Steve Harvey
with an Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love someone the other day showed me that because I teach clown workshops, and I think I'm a good teacher. You know, I'd say my teaching batting average is all right, but someone put it on their resume, and I was like, you don't want to do that. Dude, get that off there. That's not going to help you.
Yeah,
it's weird.
What do you teach them when you teach? What is a class like?
There's two ways to answer that. One is like, what is the room like? And then what the curriculum is. And I guess what I teach is kind of just like I teach two types mainly. One's like a basic intro to clown that also is a bit of performance dynamics with just some.
I say this from a complete state of ignorance. I don't know what clown school, what you would learn or how, what is that thing?
Yeah, well, to me, the main things I learned at the clown school I went to, among, all the plethora of things that I've learned there, was like how to be entertaining, how to deal with failure, and hopefully how to create and like find your pocket as a comedian, and know, like my teacher Philippe would say, if they're laughing, your clown's around your body, and then just like trying to zone in on this, which is a very...
Put that on a t-shirt, please.
Yeah, but if you are laughing, your clown is there. And he's like, if not, he is gone. I was like, oh, thank you. 2 years.
No, wait, how do you teach somebody to be entertaining?
I think you teach them what is unique to them. It's like what you have, only you have, and therefore a cookie cutter method would not work for everybody. However, it's more of an approach. I think like if you approach it from this place of pleasure, like if you're excited and your eyes are full of joy and wily-eyed and you're just happy to be there, we're at least seeing like, oh, there's something going on here. If you're being sensitive and taking in the crowd and listening to what they are receptive to and then kind of letting them guide you, that's another one where, you can kind of get bashed around like a pinball. There's this.
But you could be a sad clown.
You could be. It wouldn't necessarily. Some
There'd
people
be a little kind of masochism to it. You could be a clown, a masochistic clown, sad.
People love to see me fail.
Yeah.
That was my takeaway from my 2 years at clown school, was like the 3 times I was funny, which were all by accident, was when I didn't know what was going on and everyone was laughing at me. And it was brutal.
Is there a language barrier?
The school's English he's French, his wife's Japanese. It's all English second language.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Can you believe this?
Shit is crazy.
Dude, there's 75 people from like 45 different countries. The age range is like 18 to 65. I was the youngest when I was there. I was 20 the year that I went. And then the next year, my comedy partner ended up being the youngest, who was 18. So I was pissed off at him. But
I love the idea of somebody 65 years old going, fuck it. I've always wanted to be a clown. I'm going to go to France. I'm going to, honey, you watch the kids. I know they're in their 40s, but still,
you
watch the kids, and I'm going to go to France and I'm going to learn how to be a clown. God damn it.
It rocked. It was always so cool to see those types of people coming, because then everyone, like, you basically find out how you're ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And then he would also separate, like, some people were actors.
It's mostly physical stuff.
In a way, it's a theater, it's an acting theater curriculum taught by a French clown his name's Philippe Gaulier. He's, to me, and I hate to say this to you, I'm so sorry, the funniest guy I've ever met in my life. But first the worst, second's the best. Don't worry.
Okay, great.
And then he basically would say, actors aren't clowns. Clowns can't be actors because like clowns are too stupid to be able to get it right. But they're miraculous.
That seems very. I would imagine the clown community would cancel him for something like that. It seems very.
He was much more in a binary than maybe I am.
Racist, kind of. I'm considering the clowns a race. A race of humans,
which we appreciate and honestly are not represented enough. He would love that, and if he would laugh, he would say, "Maybe a little racist, but it's
well, then
funny."
Maybe I'm funnier than he is. How about that? I made the funniest clown laugh.
No. But his whole, I think you would love his approach. And like, it's really, everything's just a game. Everything's a game. And the way he teaches his segments, like the school's broken down into 3 10-week sessions. And again, I don't want to speak on his behalf. He would probably hate that, but this is my,
that's a long, so that's a
2 years. If you want, it would be October through June. And now, unfortunately, he's a bit older, so he doesn't teach the second year anymore, but it would basically, the first 4 weeks is this program called Le Jeu, where it's about playing the game and just getting into this like childlike state of play and just having fun, kind of unlearning. Second is Greek tragedy and neutral mask. And that's about, how's my body on stage? Am I looking down? Am I rocking? Am I looking all over the place? And just showing the power of like, you can make people laugh with just your eyes instead of having to go like this, and also how big it looks on stage, and then also to go for it. Then there's like melodrama, and it's like no one's doing melodrama anymore. It's not about being good at melodrama, but either you throw yourself into this and you act beautifully, or you throw yourself into this and you're an idiot and everyone's laughing so hard at like how serious you take this. And ideally you take these principles with you, where it's like if you're looking at this cup and this cup becomes the most important thing in the world, and you're like looking up at the heavens and you look at the cup and you know this type of stuff. And so it'd be giving it stakes like that to then take to a clown number. And so we do things like characters, like Sacha Baron Cohen studied there, Helena Bonham Carter studied there, I think Zach Zucker studied there. Some like really cool, funny.
Really?
Yeah, some really cool, funny people.
That's an amazing list. But I don't know the last guy you mentioned.
He was he appeared with David Cross in Tucson, I believe, on a plane with him once.
Has appeared with?
Yeah,
okay.
He's appeared with him.
Well, then that doesn't mean a whole lot.
I think David was in seat 11C and Zach was in 28F. But
on the plane.
They were appearing on the same plane together.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
I have seen some of David Cross's plane work, and I recommend Comfort Plus.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought his plane work was plane work. I sure hope so. I thought that was like one of his classic plane jokes.
That's not very funny.
That was what the guy at the meet and greet told me to tell you.
Yeah. But what do I have to give up now if I want to use it?
Oh, I want a credit. I want a credit in the next special.
I should have had him open up. I should have, you know what? I should have just. I was not in the right frame of mind. I was so tired, and then you get tired of just you're also on and being very being a bubbly host, and because I would do those meet and greets, and I mean, I can't tell you how many times, many times, either the theater manager or somebody would either start to line people up, or just presume it, where there'd be like all right, everybody, form a line. You have 30 seconds. We're going to take a picture and then move on. And I was like, no, that's not what we're doing. And then eventually had the tour manager just tell everybody ahead of time, like, here's how it's going to work. I got a bottle of tequila. I come out, we pour shots, we do shots, and we hang out till everyone's had their picture, and or I sign what they want me to sign. And so many times, before I like had to say that, was like, people were like, wow, nobody ever does this. And then they tell me stories, like, and I would I'd goad them, like, who was bad? Who was a dick?
Yeah. Tell me. I need to know.
And I wouldn't say people were, the stories I heard were not like being assholes, but it was just like perfunctory, like, whatever.
Yeah.
You paid your money. Here's a picture. Move on.
Yeah. Pop out of here.
Oh, well, all right, phony. That was my phone being a little bit of a smart ass. Okay. So, Zach, before I close out the show, I ask everyone a question from my daughter. And,
no way.
Yeah. Everyone has to answer a question from my daughter.
That's so sweet.
And, okay. So, this is a good one for you. This is for you, Zach Zucker. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And this is a question from my now 7-year-old daughter. Can you die if somebody tickles you so much?
I imagine so, yeah.
Not too much, but so much.
Yeah. Because so much, I feel like it could, if it's so much, it means it's constantly it's constantly happening.
Could you die from it?
I could see the tickling relating. Okay. I feel like the tickling could get you to a place of medical discomfort, and therefore you could perish from that. I don't think I would die from from the actual act of tickling, but the tickling could maybe send me into some sort of shock potentially. Now, again, I didn't go to college and I'm not a doctor, and I think you're learning that in real time right now. But
I thought you did go to college and you are a doctor.
Yes.
I thought you were a podiatrist.
Yeah, well,
okay, well, this changes everything.
yeah. If we could take back the interview, I would really like to try it again.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
It would have been a bummer, though. It would be kind of nice if you called me Doc.
Well, that's stolen valor. That's stolen Dr. Valor.
Well, we don't know. Dr. Valor he was my father. He was a different guy.
Yeah.
I think you could. I feel like I've been so uncomfortable. I feel like, could you maybe get like a spasm and then that could trip up like a...
I mean, it's, I don't want to, it's your question, your answer.
Yeah.
I don't want to,
I'm open to collaborate.
Okay. I mean, you could be tickled so much that you tried to get away and then stumbled backward over a balcony railing. Let's say you're on the 23rd floor of,
Michael Jordan's floor.
So boom, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could not like the tickling and then you realized, oh my God, I haven't laughed. I mean, when was the last time I really laughed? My life is so, and then you kill yourself.
Yeah, right there.
Because you realize how empty your life is and what have you become and the wasted opportunities you had.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess there's, but it's not my answer. It's your.
No, but I'm happy to hear you go off in that direction, because that's where I was thinking. I was like, it feels like the tickling would be the inciting incident for what would then lead to
heart failure.
Yeah, a heart failure. It would, or make you go like, enough, and you hit like you maybe flail and hit a wall.
You hit the nuclear button. What if you're tickling the guy,
whoa,
the general, who's and then you hit the nuclear button. And
you tickle Trump and he hits it.
Yeah.
I feel like you could die from being tickled so much.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go, Marlo. There's your answer. Zach Zucker, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks
for your time. And if you see Jack Tucker performing, I urge you, please go see it. It's a lot of fun. Hey guys, just announced a big show in Central Park on the Summer Stage, part of the Summer Stage series, called David Cross and Super Pals. That's going to be August 8th. It's going to be amazing. Got all kinds of really cool special guests. I know we got Bob Odenkirk, Sarah Silverman, Sean Patton, Fred Armisen, many, many, many more. Go to officialdavidcross.com. That'll have all the information for that. And the pre-sale, it just went out, and the pre-sale code is FUN. I believe it's all caps. FUN. David Cross and Super Pals, August 8th, Central Park. Come down.
That was a Headgum podcast.